If you're a state pensioner in the UK, the news you've been waiting for is finally here, and it's bigger than many expected. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has just confirmed a massive increase to the state pension, and when I tell you the exact figures for October 2025, you're going to want to stick around, because this affects millions of pensioners across the country. Whether you're already claiming or planning to retire soon, this could mean hundreds of pounds extra in your pocket every single year. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let me break down everything you need to know about this historic pension rise. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon because we bring you the latest updates on pensions, benefits, and financial news that directly impacts your wallet. Today, we're diving deep into something that's making headlines across the UK. Keir Starmer and his government have just announced the confirmed state pension increases for October 2025, and honestly, this is one of the most significant rises we've seen in recent years. Now, I know pension talk can sometimes feel a bit dry, but trust me, when we get into the actual numbers and what this means for your monthly income, you'll understand why this is such a big deal. We're going to cover who's eligible, how much you'll actually receive, when the payments start, and most importantly, what you need to do to make sure you're getting every penny you're entitled to. There are also some really important details that many pensioners don't know about, and I want to make sure you have all the information you need. Let's start with the big question on everyone's mind. How much is the state pension actually going up? Well, the government uses something called the triple lock to determine pension increases each year. For those who might not be familiar, the triple lock guarantee means that the state pension must rise by whichever is highest out of three figures: the rate of inflation, average earnings growth, or 2.5%. This system was designed to protect pensioners from losing purchasing power and to ensure that pension income keeps pace with the cost of living. For the October 2025 increase, the government has confirmed that pensions will rise by 4.1%. Now, that might sound like just a number, but when we break it down into actual pounds and pence, you'll see why pensioners across the country are breathing a sigh of relief. This increase is based on the average earnings growth figure from earlier this year, which came in higher than both inflation and the minimum 2.5% threshold. So what does this mean in real terms? If you're receiving the full new state pension, which currently stands at £221.20 per week, you'll see an increase of around £9.07 per week. That brings your new weekly payment to approximately £230.27. Now, I want you to think about this on an annual basis because that's where the impact really hits home. This increase means an extra £472.64 per year in your pocket. That's nearly £500 that you wouldn't have had without this rise. For those on the basic state pension, which is the older system for people who reached state pension age before April 2016, the increase is proportional. The basic state pension currently sits at £169.50 per week. And with the 4.1% rise, this will increase to approximately £176.45 per week. That's an extra £6.95 per week, or around £361.40 annually. Now, Keir Starmer made this announcement with a clear message. He stated that protecting pensioners and ensuring they can live with dignity is a fundamental priority of his government. He emphasized that despite the economic challenges facing the country, the triple lock commitment would be honored, and this substantial increase proves that the government is standing by its word. This is particularly significant because there had been some speculation in recent months about whether the triple lock would survive, especially given the pressure on public finances. Let's talk about when you'll actually see this money. The October 2025 increase will come into effect from the first full week of October, which means most pensioners will receive their increased payment in the second week of the month. If you're paid every 4 weeks, your payment will reflect the new rate from that cycle onwards. If you're paid monthly, you'll see the adjustment in your October payment. The government has confirmed that the increase will be automatic, which means you don't need to apply for it or contact the pension service. The system will update your payment amount without any action required on your part. One thing that's really important to understand is that this increase applies to everyone receiving the state pension, regardless of whether you have other income sources. It doesn't matter if you have a private pension, rental income, savings, or you're still working part-time. Your state pension increase is guaranteed under the triple lock system. However, and this is crucial, the amount you receive depends on your national insurance contribution record. To get the full new state pension, you need 35 qualifying years of national insurance contributions. If you have fewer qualifying years, your pension will be proportionately lower, but you'll still receive the 4.1% increase on whatever amount you're entitled to. There's also something incredibly important that many people overlook, and this could be costing you thousands of pounds. If you have gaps in your national insurance record, you might be able to fill them by making voluntary contributions. The deadline for filling certain gaps has been extended, and this could be your opportunity to boost your state pension significantly. Some people have managed to increase their weekly pension by tens of pounds simply by filling in missing years. You can check your national insurance record online through the government's website, and it takes just a few minutes. If you find gaps, it's worth calculating whether making voluntary contributions would be financially beneficial. In many cases, the cost of filling a gap is recovered within just a couple of years of receiving the higher pension. Now, let's talk about something that affects a specific group of pensioners, but it's absolutely vital. If you're receiving pension credit, this increase in the state pension could impact your entitlement. Pension credit tops up your income to a minimum level, and as the state pension rises, some people might find they're no longer eligible for pension credit, or they might receive a reduced amount. However, it's essential to continue claiming if you're currently receiving it, because pension credit opens the door to other benefits like help with housing costs, council tax reduction, free TV licenses for those over 75, and help with heating costs through schemes like the winter fuel payment. Speaking of additional support, the increase in the state pension comes at a time when many pensioners are facing rising costs across the board. Energy bills, food prices, and general living costs have all increased substantially over the past few years. While the 4.1% rise is significant, it's worth looking at what other support might be available to you. If you're struggling with heating costs, make sure you're aware of the Warm Home Discount Scheme and other energy support programs. If your income is low, even with the pension increase, you might be entitled to housing benefit or council tax reduction. Many pensioners miss out on thousands of pounds of support simply because they don't realize they're eligible or they assume the application process is too complicated. The announcement from Keir Starmer also addressed concerns about the long-term sustainability of the triple lock. He confirmed that his government remains committed to maintaining this guarantee throughout the current Parliament. This is significant because it provides certainty for pensioners and those planning for retirement. You can budget and plan knowing that your pension will continue to rise in line with the triple lock formula. However, he also acknowledged that the pension system needs to be financially sustainable for future generations, and there will be ongoing work to ensure that younger people paying into the system today can also expect a decent pension when they retire. It's worth taking a moment to compare this increase with previous years. Last year, pensioners saw a substantial rise due to high inflation rates. This year's increase, while slightly lower in percentage terms, still represents a significant real terms boost to income. When you look at the cumulative effect of these increases over several years, the state pension has grown considerably. However, it's also important to acknowledge that many pensioners are still struggling financially, particularly those who rent their homes or have high care costs. The state pension, even with this increase, is still below the poverty line if it's someone's only source of income. For those approaching retirement age, this announcement provides useful information for planning. If you're due to reach state pension age in the coming months or years, you can now calculate more accurately what your income will be. Remember that the state pension age is currently 66 for both men and women, but it's scheduled to rise to 67 between 2026 and 2028. If you're in this age bracket, it's worth checking your exact state pension age because it might be later than you think. Another aspect that deserves attention is how this increase interacts with tax. The state pension is taxable income, although it's paid without tax being deducted at source. If your total income, including the state pension and any other pensions or earnings, exceeds the personal allowance, which is currently £12,570 per year, you'll need to pay tax on the excess. With the pension increase, some pensioners might find they're now crossing this threshold, which means they'll need to pay some tax. HMRC usually collects this by adjusting your tax code if you have another source of income that's taxed at source, such as a private pension or employment income. The political context of this announcement is also interesting. Keir Starmer's government has faced pressure from various groups about how to balance supporting pensioners with the needs of working-age people and families. By confirming this substantial increase and reaffirming the triple lock commitment, the government is sending a clear message about its priorities. Critics have pointed out that the triple lock is expensive and that younger generations are paying for a benefit they might not receive themselves in the same form. Supporters argue that after a lifetime of work and contributions, pensioners deserve security and dignity in retirement. It's a debate that's likely to continue, but for now, the triple lock remains government policy. So there you have it, everything you need to know about the confirmed state pension increase for October 2025. To recap the key points, the state pension is rising by 4.1%, which means an extra £9.07 per week if you're on the full new state pension, or £6.95 if you're on the basic state pension. This increase is automatic and will appear in your payment from early October. It applies to everyone receiving the state pension regardless of other income sources, and it's protected by the triple lock guarantee that Keir Starmer has confirmed will continue. My advice to you is this. First, check your national insurance record to make sure you're getting the full pension you're entitled to. If there are gaps, investigate whether filling them makes financial sense. Second, look into what other support you might be eligible for, particularly if your income is still relatively low even with this increase. Pension credit, housing benefit, council tax reduction, and energy support schemes could all put more money in your pocket. Third, think about your budget and how you'll use this extra money. Whether it's building up a small emergency fund, covering rising bills, or having a bit more for the things you enjoy, this increase gives you some breathing room. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up because it really helps the channel reach more people who need this information. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on because pension rules and benefits are constantly changing, and I'll keep you updated with all the latest news. Drop a comment below and let me know how this increase affects you, or if you have any questions about your pension situation. I try to respond to as many comments as possible, and your questions often inspire future videos. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your finances. The more you understand about your pension and entitlements, the better equipped you are to make the most of your retirement income. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll be diving into more money-saving tips and benefit updates. Until then, make sure you're getting everything you're entitled to, and enjoy that extra money coming your way in October.